How's it going, guys? Today I wanted to talk about how to survive a nuclear attack. Now, this is a topic that I've just kind of noticed in the past. A lot of different videos, they brush on it, they give a good general, but they miss a lot of key important things that I just wanted to discuss, go into a little bit more further detail, but still go into kind of a layman terms, just a general idea of what you should do, but still make sure you guys understand the most important things you need to know. This is a topic I have researched for roughly 10 years now. So it's a topic that I have gained a lot of confidence in. I know the different ins and outs, and I want to relay that information to you guys in the most... I want to be straightforward. I want to be straightforward with the information so it's easy to understand and that you get the information that you need, so in case it ever happens, you got the information, you know what to do for the most part. Realistically, a nuclear attack is one of those attacks that you can't really properly prepare for it. There's only so much you can do, because the fact of the matter is it's every major disaster all put into one. Now, by no means I don't want to scare anybody, I don't want to freak anybody out. My intention here is just to relay safety information so that everybody knows what to do, because the biggest PR campaign I've seen towards getting the public to know about this stuff is that little safety video that New York put out a few months ago. And it's just not good enough. There's way more information that people need to know, and let's go over it. First things first, just simple preparation. It is truly sad how many people do not have some sort of emergency kit in their home and to some degree their vehicles. I don't really understand why people don't do this. It's truly astounding how many people do not prepare for the everyday things of life. Like, what every home should have is just fill a backpack with change of clothes, first aid kit, extra batteries, an emergency radio, stuff of that nature. There's plenty of videos out there that will show you how to make a good emergency backpack. In later videos, I'll probably go into like what are the right things to put into one and where to get the stuff. It's all pretty straightforward, but again, I just want people to know it. So first things first is get some preparations in order. Just get a backpack, get some stuff. Have something at the ready that you know you can go to. In this case, we're not really talking about your average everyday disaster. We're talking about a nuclear attack, which, as I mentioned before, it's the king of all disasters, plain and simple. One thing that everybody needs to understand about a nuclear attack is the EMP, the electromagnetic pulse. To put it very simply, when a nuclear strike happens, it releases an electromagnetic pulse for miles and miles and miles. It will wipe out the electrical grid, it will wipe out cars. Pretty much any car built after 2000 that has a lot of electrical components is going to be wiped out. Most household electronics will go down with it. Very simple ones are probably going to be safe. But for the most part, assume that if there's a nuclear attack, your electronics, all of them, are going down and they are out of commission forever. Think about that. I want you to think about, through your daily life, what kind of electronics you rely on. Obviously, you need your car to drive. Has it been built after 2000? Does it have those components that would be fried? It's something to consider, because all that stuff is gonna go. All of it. There are some steps that you can make to prevent the damage. For example, for smaller household electronics, you can put it in what's called a Faraday cage. I'm gonna make a video kind of brushing like how I make mine, but for the sake of certainty, I want to refer you guys to a guy called the EMP Doctor. He goes into a lot of different stuff regarding that and all the different preventive measures and stuff of that nature. I've noticed in a lot of those safety videos, they always talk about tuning into your radios to essentially figure out what's going on after an attack. The thing is, most people don't really have emergency radios at their home, and their cars just went out of commission, and so did their phones, because there's no cellular tower, and obviously the EMP is going to be wiping your phone out anyway. So this is why I want to stress this, because a lot of those safety tips don't really put into account the EMP that's going to be happening with it. You can't tune into a radio frequency if the way that you're getting radio has been fried. Plain and simple. But that goes into the second step that we need to go into, the actual attack itself. So, if you're lucky, you may get a heads up that one's coming. You may get the notification through your phone, most likely. You'll potentially, if you're driving or near a radio, you'll most likely hear the alert if you have time. The fact of the matter is, a few different countries have hypersonic missiles that travel pretty fast. I don't know how up-to-date the sensors are and how much time you'd have, but for the most part, I would say between 5 to 15 minutes is going to be your window. Realistically, you want to treat it like it is coming down in a few seconds. That's the pace that I want you to have if you get that alert. The first thing you need to do is get to shelter immediately. You need to, if you're in a building, get to the middle of the building or a basement or somewhere that is secured. Just make it to the middle of the building or a basement, somewhere that's going to protect you. That's the first thing. There is nothing more important than getting to somewhere safe. Now, if you are outside, go to sewage drains, go under a bridge, just get to some sort of shelter that will give you adequate reinforcement from the blast. All right, now let's say the explosion has happened. First things first, stay away from the windows. Do not look at it by any regard. I cannot stress that enough. If you look at that explosion, you will go blind. It is going to be so bright. It's essentially, a nuclear explosion is bringing the sun to Earth. You wouldn't look at the sun. Don't look. You need to keep your head down, over your head, low as possible, and you need to protect all your vitals. It's coming, and it's coming quick. A lot of people in Hiroshima that got injured, the reason why they were injured was because they heard an explosion, they went to the windows to figure out what was going on, and the shockwave blasted the windows. That's how a lot of people were injured and some were killed. You need to, if you hear an explosion, just make it your firm goal to just get to the center of the building. Don't look outside, don't do any of that. If you have sunglasses and hearing protection, now is the time to use it, because I can tell you that the explosion is going to be loud. It's probably going to blow your eardrums. It's going to be very uncomfortable, but cover your ears and cover your head. Okay? All right, now the explosion has passed. Your first impression is going to be to get up, find loved ones, regroup together. Don't stay where you are. If you're underground or inside of a building, stay there. You want that shelter for at least 24 hours, at least, because what's coming down is the fallout. The fallout is going to be radioactive material that is going to be ionizing, and it's going to mess your body up. You don't mess with radiation. You need to resist the urge. I understand. You're probably going to be looking for your loved ones. You're probably going to be trying to get out. Resist the urge. Wait at least 24 hours before you do so. Realistically, wait between 1 to 2 weeks. You want to stay low as long as possible. You want to wait for that radioactive fallout to clear away, because if you get exposed to that, it's going to cause a lot of issues for you. Realistically, It killed so many people during the Hiroshima and Nagasaki attacks. It is astronomical how damaging it is. Do not take it lightly. If you do decide to go out again after that 24 hours, cover your face, cover your eyes, any skin exposure you want to completely cover. Make essentially a makeshift hazmat suit. If you can get yourself a hazmat suit, even better. But you want to get yourself covered from head to toe. You don't want to be breathing that in, so a good mask, definitely some sunglasses, a hat, anything that can cover you up from that radioactive exposure. And after that exposure, what you want to do is, if you have access to potassium iodide, now's the time to take it. You want to take the dosaging according to that. Obviously, most people don't just have that laying around, but I still wanted to include that. The potassium iodide does help your thyroid clear out those radioactive materials, and it can help your odds out. But honestly, the most important thing you want to do is wash yourself thoroughly. You don't want to scrub too deeply, but you want to get all those radioactive particles off of you. Get rid of the clothes, get rid of anything that's going to have those radioactive particles attached to it. And then you want to clean yourself pretty thoroughly. After that point, you've survived. If you're able to make it past the fallout and you can keep your exposure to a very minimum, you're doing good. But honestly, after this point, depending on the scale, if there was a full nuclear war, you may need to consider that a nuclear winter could be imminent. A nuclear winter is essentially when so much dust and soot and radioactive material has gone into the atmosphere. It shields the sunlight from the surface, causing essentially a miniature ice age. It's going to drastically affect the environment. It's going to definitely affect the food that's coming to your table. You need to consider that, and you need to stay vigilant, and you need to stay strong, because if a nuclear winter happens, it's probably going to be about 5 years before it starts to clear away. But we can do this. This is something that humanity can survive. But we have to stay strong, we have to stay united, and we have to do this together. God forbid that stuff ever happens, but I wanted to share this just so more people know about it, so more people know about the safety. Because again, it disappoints me how many people don't know. And like I said, I wanted to do just a quick video on this, just something quick for people to listen to in just a quick fashion. I'm going to have further videos discussing all these different topics in further detail. If you like it, definitely show me support. But honestly, at the end of the day, I just want people to know about this stuff. But thank you for watching, and you guys have a great day.